Have you ever really wondered what's going on inside your body when someone has diabetes? It's a word we hear all the time, right? It affects millions of people, but it can feel incredibly complicated. Well, today we're going to demystify it. We're going to break it all down, starting with what's happening in our blood.
So yeah, it all comes down to what's happening in our blood, specifically with a type of sugar called glucose. A single drop can tell such a complex story, and our goal in this explainer is to take that complex story of high blood sugar and turn it into a few simple, powerful ideas that you can really grasp.
Alright, so to really get what goes wrong in diabetes, we first have to appreciate the amazing job our bodies do every single day, just keeping things in balance. It's a constant balancing act.
Think of your body as this master regulator. It's incredible, really. When you eat something, your blood sugar naturally goes up. Your pancreas sees this and releases a hormone called insulin. Now, insulin acts like a key. It goes around to all your cells, unlocks the door, and lets that sugar rush in to be used for energy. It's this beautiful, precise system that keeps our blood sugar levels humming along in a very narrow, safe range.
And wow, this slide just nails the problem, doesn't it? That steady blue line, that's the healthy, balanced state we were just talking about. But the red line, that's diabetes. It's a state of chaos where blood sugar can swing unpredictably and, most importantly, stays way too high for way too long. And that condition, that state of chronically high blood sugar, has a name: hyperglycemia.
So this is the really crucial part. Diabetes is all about a breakdown in that insulin system. And it really boils down to two fundamental problems. Either your body isn't making enough insulin, or the insulin it is making isn't working right. Both of those roads lead to the exact same destination: high blood sugar.
Which, of course, brings us to the next big question. Why does that insulin system break down in the first place? Well, there are two main ways this happens, and they define the two major types of diabetes that you've probably heard about.
Okay, to make this super clear, we're going to use a simple analogy. Just imagine your body's cells are like a bunch of locked rooms, and glucose is the energy that's just waiting to get inside. Well, insulin is the key that unlocks the door.
All right, let's put our analogy to work. On the left, you have type 1 diabetes. You can think of this as the lost keys problem. Here, the body's own immune system attacks and destroys the cells that make insulin. It's like you've completely lost your key-making factory. No keys means no way to open the doors for the glucose. Now, on the right, we have type 2. This is the rusty locks problem. The pancreas is still making keys, sometimes even extra keys, but the locks on the cells have become rusty and resistant. The key fits, but it just won't turn properly. So sugar gets stuck outside, building up in the blood.
And this is what that lost keys problem looks like up close. In type 1, for reasons we don't fully understand, the immune system gets confused. It creates these things called autoantibodies that mistake the body's own insulin-producing cells for invaders and just wipes them out. It's basically a case of friendly fire.
Now for type 2, that rusty locks problem, the risk factors are totally different. There's a really strong genetic link, so if it runs in your family, that matters a lot. But lifestyle factors, things like obesity and not being physically active, play a huge role in making those cellular locks get more and more rusty and resistant to insulin over time.
Okay, so we know what can go wrong, but how do doctors actually figure it out and put a name on it? Well, it all comes down to a few key numbers. Basically, doctors have three main tools in their toolbox. They can check your blood sugar after you haven't eaten for a while, that's fasting glucose. They can see how your body handles a big dose of sugar, or they can use a really cool test called the A1C. And each one has a specific cutoff number that tells them when things have crossed the line from normal into diabetes.
Let's zoom in on this first number. If your blood sugar is 126 or higher after you've fasted for at least 8 hours, well, that's a major red flag. It tells doctors that even when there's no new food coming in, your body is struggling to bring your blood sugar down into that safe, normal range.
And then there's this other key number, 6.5%. This one comes from that A1C test I mentioned. And this test is a little different. It's not just a snapshot of your blood sugar in one single moment.
So you might be asking, why that specific number? Why 6.5%? Is it just random? Absolutely not. These diagnostic numbers are based entirely on risk. Researchers looked at tons of data and saw that 6.5% is the precise tipping point where the risk for long-term damage to your eyes, your kidneys, your nerves really starts to take off.
So what is the A1C test? Well, it gives us the bigger picture. You see, sugar in your blood tends to stick to your red blood cells. The A1C test measures what percentage of those cells have become sugar-coated.
And since red blood cells live for about 3 months, the A1C gives us a fantastic 3-month average of your blood sugar control. It's like getting a report card instead of a single pop quiz.
All right, so a diagnosis has been made. Now what? Well, this is where the story pivots from the problem to the solution. This is where the focus becomes all about creating a management game plan and taking back control.
And the goal of that whole game plan is pretty straightforward. We want to get that chaotic red line we saw earlier to behave a lot more like that calm, steady blue line. It is all about getting those blood sugar levels under control to prevent those really serious long-term health problems down the road.
For type 2 diabetes especially, the whole foundation of a good game plan rests on these 3 pillars. And you know what? Before we even start talking about medications, these lifestyle changes can be a total game changer. They are incredibly powerful.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it's about making smart swaps. Choosing foods that release their sugar slowly. It's about getting a handle on how carbs affect you personally. And honestly, one of the simplest but most powerful changes you can make, just cutting out sugary drinks. It's huge.
And those other pillars? Just as critical. The goal for exercise is about 150 minutes a week. Now that might sound like a lot, but it could just be a brisk 30-minute walk 5 days a week. Totally doable. And the impact of weight loss is just staggering. For many people, losing just 5 to 7% of their body weight can dramatically help unrust those locks on their cells, making them sensitive to insulin again.
And this is why all of this matters so much. This quote right here really gets to the heart of it. Taking action early, being proactive, it's not just about managing numbers on a lab report. It's about actively preventing really serious things like heart disease in the future.
At the end of the day, managing this is a journey toward finding balance. It's not about being perfect every single day. So that really leaves us with a question, not just for people with diabetes, but for anyone looking to improve their health. What's one small, manageable step you could take today to find a little more of that balance?